it bicara pakai bahasa Jepang. まだ揃っていなさそうなので、もうちょっとお待ちいただけますか。で、私の方で、開始の挨拶を、開会をさせていただきますんで、もうちょっとお待ちいただけますか。
承知いたしました。はい。
はい、すいません。
です。はい
もうちょっと待ってくださいね。まだ何が入ってるTeman-teman RDKPI, sudah siap?
Sudah siap, Pak Tada.
Sudah
Silakan,
siap
Pak
tuh?
Tada.
Oke. Boleh mulai?
We still waiting for Pak Iwan will join
Oh.
with us, but let me confirm to him
Oke.
already.
Oke.
Halo, Pak Dir.
Oh, Pak Iwan. Selamat siang, Pak. Bisa? Pak Iwan, boleh mulai? Pak Iwan. Ibu Ita itu off. Suaranya. Gimana?
Pak Iwan izin masih mute Pak Iwan.
Sibuk.
Yes. Siang Pak Tada.
Bagaimana? Sibuk.
Yes, I'm already in, so we can just start the session then. Lucy, perhaps we can just begin the session then.
Okay, thank you. So let us start. Today's my last chance to give you a mini lecture. Today we are inviting Professor Tatsufumi Yamagata. He is a professor of Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University in Kyushu, Beppu, Kyushu. I think that you know the name of Ritsumeikan University,
Yes.
APU, because so many Indonesian students are learning there. Yeah. And personally speaking, let me introduce a little bit about my relationship with Professor Yamagata. When I was much younger, I had the chance to study in the school organized by IDE, Institute of Developing Economies in Japan. And I met Professor Yamagata at that time. He was also young at that time, but he was a specialist. He is an economist for developing countries. And after that, I graduated the school and I went to study in UK. But Professor Yamagata continued working in IDE. And recently, he moved to Ritsumeikan APU University. And as I said, he's an economist and also head of the Organization of Development Specialists in Japan. So, so many information and knowledge will be given by him today, but time is unfortunately limited. But as you have already read the PowerPoint presentation given by Professor Yamagata, today he is discussing about the Japanese official development assistance. I think it would be very informative to you, LDKPI. So we would have a session spoken by Professor Yamagata. And after that, as usual, we would have time to discuss about Japanese ODA now and then. Yeah. So, Professor Yamagata, if you are fine, would you please start your lecture?
Yes, Mr. Tada, thank you very much indeed for kind and detailed introduction of myself. I'm in Kyushu Island. Kyushu Island is one of four islands of Japan, main island of Japan, and Kyushu is located westmost area in Japan. I was born in northern part of Japan and country boy. I worked for the Institute of Developing Economies, where Mr. Tada also received training for 1 year. But I worked for that particular institute for 30 years, 30, long enough. Then that institute sent me to the United States for PhD study in economics. I mean, particularly the University of Rochester, New York State, US. Then I returned to the Institute of Developing Economies. Then after 30 years of service, I moved to the Ritz-American Asia Pacific University 6 years ago, 2018. I'm enjoying teaching and as Mr. Tada said, many students are from Indonesia. The total number of students in this university is around 6,000. I think out of 6,000, around 200, 300 students are from Indonesia. And I remember there were some master students directly sent by the Ministry of Finance Indonesia, even though I didn't have a very close and direct contact with that persons. But this university and Indonesia, the governments of Indonesia all very close. I'm very pleased to tell that. Today, I got the opportunity to talk about Japan's ODA. You know that Mr. Tada worked for JICA for a long time, so that he is more knowledgeable than I about practical issues. I'm outside the system, so that you might be you might count me as a third party expert. I'm watching from outside the Japan's ODA. Even though I'm sometimes involved in some of short-term activities given by the Ministry of Finance and JICA, I would talk more about my career using my slides, which seems to be already distributed to you. Let me share a screen with you with the slides. I hope that this has been already distributed to you. Then I said the title today is What's New and Old. Mainly, I will talk about structural, historical, and contextual issues of Japan's ODA. Having said that, I would come to current issues, current orientation of Japan's government's on development assistance. so that those new aspects and old aspects will be mixed in my talk. And I plan that I might talk around 1 hour or 50 minutes. Then we would go to a question and answer session. I'm okay whenever anybody has a question in the middle and talk to me, then I might be able to stop and quickly turn to the discussion. So let's see how much you like my presentation. The photo showing is one I took last May before so-called revolution in Bangladesh. This is a train assisted by JICA running in Dhaka, capital city. So that this is one of symbolic assistance, so that I showed it to you. Then this is introduction of myself. I don't go in detail, but you see that my involvements in international cooperation mostly associated with Bangladesh as a country because I was stationed in Bangladesh for 1 year in 2000. Sent by the Institute of Developing Economies. So that since then, I have been involved in cooperation between Bangladesh and Japan. And the main driving organization was MOFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And JICA is under MOFA as well, so that the MOFA and JICA are main entry points for me to the field of international cooperation. And evaluation of Japan's ODA is another aspect which I have been involved in business. Currently, I'm served as a chairperson of the advisory committee on evaluation of JICA. I was assigned 2 weeks ago. So this is my background. Then let me go to the contents. This is the table of contents. Except final remarks, I have 3 sections. Number 1 is features of Japan's ODA. This is visual and illustrative. Number 2 is background of those illustrative feature of Japan's ODA. Then number 3 is policy issues. This is a structure I have for you today. By the way, I have a chat box. All right. Okay, let me go into section number 1, features of Japan's ODA. This is trends in ODA in terms of value US dollar among 5 representative DAC countries. I hope you know about OECD DAC, which is abbreviation of Organization for Economic and Development Corporation, OEC, I'm sorry, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is organization mainly consists of Western countries, however, which includes Korea, Mexico, Japan, such some of middle-income countries. And OECD has a Development Assistance Committee, and this is called DAC. And US, Germany, Japan, UK, and France, 5 top donors among OECD DAC countries. One of and you see that US is the top donor among OECD DAC member countries, and the second is Germany. Then Japan did for red, thick, bold line. Then once Japan was the first, top, the greatest contributor to international cooperation in terms of official development assistance. And it was in the 1990s. Japan was really, in a sense, outstanding, probably as high as China right now. And Japan was considered as a threat to the world economy because it was very much competitive and monopolizing trade surplus, so that Japan was, in a sense, requested to release the money stored to the country by exporting. So that once in the 1990s, Japan was the top donor. But now it is the third greatest contributor. Then 1990s, Japan suddenly became top donor, suddenly, for the Japanese. So Japan was not ready to be a leader of the world. This is one of key issues which is related to international cooperation of Japan. So I will come back. To these issues later. Then this is very simple structure of Japan's ODA 2022 in terms of geographical distribution. Asia is the main recipient for Japan's ODA. In fact, the view picture is very different for European countries and the US. For European countries, Africa is the greatest recipient, and for the US, Middle East, including Israel and Egypt, main recipients, so that the structures are different once you compare Japan with Europe and US. Then next is one of our central picture I'd like to show you today, which is a composition of Japan's ODA by finance. How Japan's ODAs are financed. Then blue, simple blue and light blue from taxation, tax revenue. Mainly the government of Japan imposed mainly to the Japanese people. So that around a quarter of the whole Japan's ODAs are financed by tax from the Japanese. And red part dominates. And red part is associated with fiscal investment and loan program, etc. This is mainly from savings of the Japanese. Savings in the form of pension or saving in public bank in Japan, post office. Post office is also counted as a bank, and Japanese people trust post office, so that pension funds and postal savings included in the red part, fiscal investment and the loan program, etc. So that this is in borrowing from the Japanese people by the government of Japan. The government of Japan borrow money or reserve money of the Japanese. Blue parts is just giving because this is taxation, so that this is a unilateral flow from the Japanese people to the government of Japan, so that the government of Japan need not to return. However, in the case of red parts, because this is a deposit of the peoples of in Japan, sometime later, the government of Japan had to return with the interest. So this is a critical points of how Japan's ODA is financed. Then a similar picture is given next. Similar, but totally different. This looks similar, but this pie chart shows you how the Japan's ODA is distributed in terms of mode. Blue part consists of three parts: grant aid, technical cooperation, contribution to UN and international organizations, almost close, such as like a 25%. So a quota. Quota is part of the given in the mode of grant and the technical cooperation. And the red part is in the form of loan. So it consists of 62% ODA loan. Then orange part is contribution to MDBs. MDB is means that multilateral development banks. Multilateral development banks include World Bank, Asian Development Bank, African Development Bank, and many others. Inter-American Development Bank. So that you can understand the similarity between those two. It implies Japan's ODA loan mainly financed by pensions and postal savings of the Japanese. Borrowed money, not from taxation. And the taxation is distributed in the form of granted technical cooperation and contribution to UN. So this is a interesting demarcation between loan borrowing parts and taxation grants parts. Next, I would talk about close issues in terms of the distribution, allocation of Japan's ODA in terms of sector. Social infrastructure and the service, including education, health, water, etc., economic infrastructure and the services, transportation, communication, energy, etc., agriculture, forestry, fishing, industry, mining, construction, humanitarian aid, commodity aid, program assistance, etc., total. Then this table compare Japan and other Western countries. And I highlighted the cell in orange, which tells you that 44.4% of Japan's ODA goes to economic infrastructure and service. And this is conspicuous once you compare the structure with other countries. In other countries, social sector is main recipients, and education and health driver for US, UK, Germany, and France. In the case of Japan, water supply and sewage is also included in this figure, so that even though this is high, because water supply and sewage, such water part is included in the first, I mean the sector, social sector. And you can guess that the loan from Japan mainly distributed to those infrastructure. And final issues I'd like to highlight today is about tied and untied features of ODA. I guess most of you knows about the concept of tied aid and untied aid. Tada-san, do you think that I don't need to explain? No need. You are muted.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Please, may I ask you to do it?
I see. So
Yeah,
I should, okay, I would briefly tell
Yep.
difference between tied aid and untied aid.
Important
Tied
point. Yeah.
aid has a condition that donor, such as Japan, request recipient country, such as Indonesia, hire only Japanese company or made in Japan products for a project if it is funded by Japan. So this is called the tied aid. Tied aid lose flexibility. So OECD DAC recommends most of aid should be untied, shouldn't be restricted, limited the source only to donor countries. So this is the difference between tied aid and untied aid. Then as long as formality is concerned, most of the OECD DAC donors satisfies almost 100% untied features. So that implies Japan doesn't limit Japanese company to get a contract from the Japan's project. So you see that very high ratio, even in the case of Japan, appear in terms of formality. However, in reality, this is statistics from DAC. In reality, many donors prefer their country companies to undertake the projects financed by that country. For example, Hungary. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. For example, Hungary, Australia has a very high, almost 100%, 100% ratio, which implies that Hungary's aid is undertaken by Hungary company. And the Australian aid is 100% undertaken by Australian company, even though it shows that any company from any country can join, participate in bid. However, Hungary's assistance is always won by a Hungarian company, and Australian aid project is always 100% at least as long as 2019 and 20 is concerned, undertaken one by Australian company. And Japan also has a similar feature, which means that in the case of Japan, between 2019 and 20, around 80% of Japan-assisted projects are undertaken by the Japanese company. So that this is a de facto tied feature. Means that in a sense, implicit conditions seems to be a favored Japanese company, so that anti feature is not anti rule is not 100% followed by the Japan's ODA. I regret to say. So this is the end of characters of Japan's ODA. Then now I'd like to turn to the backgrounds and the context of the features. Even though this is a summary, let me just go quickly. Japan's ODA is the third greatest now. Then main recipients, Asian countries. Then Japan's ODA is substantially financed with the savings of the Japanese in the form of fiscal investment loan. And ODA sourced by saving is mainly disbursed as loan. And supervising ministry of Japan's loan is the Ministry of Finance. Then ODA sourced by taxation is mainly disbursed as grant and technical cooperation. And it is under Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there is a division of labor between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in terms of the mode of Japan's ODA. Grants and the technical corporations are mainly handled by JICA and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And now many of you might know that there was once separate institutions from JICA taking care of loan, which is called OECF or Japan Bank for International Corporation, JBIC. Those handled loan or yen loan or Japan's loan, and they was supervised by the Ministry of Finance. So this is a division of labor working over Japan's ODA. And Japanese people more worry about taxation. Savings are kept by the pension fund institution and the postal office, so they don't worry. They don't care. They don't worry about where they would mobilize and the investment. But the Japanese people mainly care about the taxation. So once they want to reduce taxation, then it affects grants and technical cooperation more than loan. So that is a feature of Japan's ODA. Then let me go to certain historical aspects which explain some of features I have already discussed. Japan's international cooperation was initiated as war reparations. Japan's military force advanced even to Indonesia, to my regret. Then Japan was finally defeated in 1945. After that, to become an independent country, coming back to the international community, Japan promised to make war reparations. That was the conditions for Japan's to become independent again. And it was made in 1952. Indonesia also joined the war reparation treaties, and those four projects were among first projects conducted under war reparation from Japan to Indonesia. Then there was a history. Reparation was supposed to be done as in-kind or manpower contribution. In-kind means non-money, not money. So commodity or goods or machines. And manpower is also, of course, people. The reason is that there was regret for the treatments of Germany after World War I, First World War. After World War I, First World War, Germany was imposed so much war reparation, and German people didn't like it. Then Adolf Hitler seems to utilize such emotion of German people and became, the head of the state of Germany, and so that there was a regret by the other allied countries that too much war reparation in terms of money might be harmful. They expect that Japan may revive as aggressive, offensive military country again if too much monetary burden is imposed. So that commodity and manpower were those measurements for the war reparation is satisfied, conducted. However, commodity assistance implies that made in Japan products directly went from Japan to a recipient country. And manpower also means that Japanese people go to a recipient country. So that this is the similarity between tide assistance and war reparation conducts, war reparation, implementation. So, because war reparation was the beginning of Japan's international cooperation, commodity made in Japan and Japan's manpower oriented assistance seems to be the norm for the Japanese to continue Japan's ODA. So that preference to Thai aid seems to be originated from the war reparations. So this is, is there any question, anything? Is it okay? No. All right. Let me continue.
Any question? Comment so far?
Yes.
There are so many quite interesting points Professor Yamagata mentioned about. No comments? No question? Ibugayo, you have no question? I think Professor's presentation is much clearer than what we had in Japan. We could understand the financial resources of Japanese ODA. You see, we have two main parts, one from tax and another one from borrowing money.
Okay, Mr. Tada and
Shirakan.
Professor. Yeah, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting about the composition of the Japan's order by finance that you already mentioned that for the grants it dominantly comes from taxation, or maybe we can say it's like national budget like in Indonesia. Oh yeah. And then for the fiscal investment, is it separated from the budget, national budget, or maybe we call it, this is already like a private fund, so there is no government intervention in this fund management. May you explain about the fund sources? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for the questions. They are separated. Think about pension. Pension has pension. There are several pension schemes. One is public and required. The others is optional and commercial. All those have great funds. At the same time, Japanese post offices are located everywhere in Japan, and it has a saving function. However, post office need to invest to gain interest, so that even post office need to look for somewhere to invest. And ODA abroad is just one source, not all, but one source of investment. So that answer is that those taxation and current expenditure part is clearly separated from the saving part.
So you see the counter posts in Japan. We have so many counter posts in Daira countryside, and they have a banking service. Each of the counter posts, they have banking service throughout dunia, all over Japan. And people in countryside, they have savings. in the account of Kantor Post, postal service, banking service. And the money is gathered from all over Japan. And the Japanese postal office need to utilize the funds collected from depositors, people who deposit money to banking service of post office. That was huge amount. And the Japanese postal agency need to utilize the money, base money, to get profit for the financial arrangement. Yeah. And as Professor explained, that is, Japanese ODA has a kind of one of the resource, one of the target for postal office to make investment. And finally, in case of JICA, we conduct loan to developing countries such as Indonesia. And Indonesia will repay the money to JICA. And JICA repays the money to postal office. Yeah. Am I clear? Professor Yamagata, is my understanding correct?
Yeah,
Perfect,
yeah,
perfect.
crystal clear. But Professor, maybe because this is an investment scheme, yeah, and then there's always like potential of loss of the investment. So
Exactly.
yeah, do you think that's it's yeah maybe you will have like a feasibility analysis or something, but still and the investment is always facing a potential of loss as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you're right. Any financial commodity and financial contract need to consider certain probability of a failure. So that have to be taken into account.
So is that okay? Have you finished? Okay.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
that's clear. Thanks, Prof.
Okay. So then shall we go on to the next topic?
There was one person raising hand, Miss Lucy Aprianti.
Oh,
Okay, thank
Lucy,
you,
yeah.
Professor. If I may to continue the discussion regarding the loan that you already presented before. Actually, Prof. Yamagata, Indonesia as emerging donor, we are already have now Indonesian aid, and then based on your presentation before, the other loans from Japan count for around 62% of Japan official development assistance in 2022. And then given Indonesia as an emerging donor. And then we are want to collaborate, we want to know more about what we have to consider to while we want to start to conduct the loan over the grant, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tada who has already instructed me that the money for the Indonesian aid come from interest from the funds given by the government of Indonesia. So that it is stable. And it doesn't depend on taxation or from outside money, for example, savings of the Indonesian is not mobilized so far in the Indonesian aid, as long as I understand. So the monetary source of Indonesian aid is now only one, not diversified yet. So probably, and at the same time, I understand that Indonesia aid have already considered about a possibility of loan. If Indonesian aid considered loan, then some funds from outside might be mobilized. Yeah, I will show that saving rates in Indonesia is increasing, so that potential for Indonesian government as well as the Indonesian aid to mobilize domestic saving into the form of loan to outside seems to be option in the near future. So let me go back to the slides. Then I will show you some more backgrounds of Japan's feature of the possibility of mobilization of savings.
Yes, please, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much. Tada-san, then let me go back to the slide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes. One of aspects, reason that Japan is likely and tend to mobilize savings better is that propensity of saving of the Japanese is likely to be high. One reason seems to be dated back to the behavior during the war period, World War II. The Japanese was habituated to refrain from consumption, so that Japan's saving rate has been generally high. I will show you shortly a comparison between Japan and the US. Then the government of Japan easily accumulated public pension funds. That is one great source of savings. And another is post office. Japanese trusted post office very much. Then those savings when goes not only to ODA but also Japan's small and medium enterprises and agricultural development, rural local development, and R&D, innovation, and scholarship. Then loan, ODA loan, yen loan to developing countries were added as recipients of those saving funds. Yes. Then let me show you a picture. This is savings to GDP ratio. Green stands for Japan's ratio, blue dotted line for US, and red solid line is for Indonesia. Firstly, look at only green and blue, Japan and the US. Even though Japan's savings ratio is declining, still it is well above the savings ratio of the United States. Once, for example, 1970, Japan's saving ratio was around 43%. Currently, 23%. So you see that for a long time, Japan's saving ratio was above US ratio. And interesting observation I found at this time, and very impressive, was Indonesia's saving ratio, savings to GDP ratio. In 1970, the ratio was as low as 10%. However, it was rising gradually and now surpassed the ratio of Japan, reach almost 40%. It is impressive, and this might be a source of Indonesia's loan cooperation to other countries. So I want to listen to you about the backgrounds of this, because I don't know much about the Indonesian economy, but all of you knows more than I. So that this would be a point of discussion after the talk. Then this is the end of the statistics and history part. Then I turn policy parts. Then policy implication become emerge as serious issues when Japan became top donor. Only after Japan became top donor, it is requested that as a leader of donors, Japan need to have a certain philosophy or rationale to make international cooperation. So, firstly, 1992 was time, I mean a year, Japan considered forming principle. This is already mentioned. Oh yeah, this was also mentioned. Japan was, suddenly, became top donor without rationale, so that official development assistance (ODA) charter was formulated for the first time in 1992. And ODA charter's contents was not so surprising. Interdependence among nations. This is not, surprising, exciting, and the priority Asia area was Asia. Then global problem, basic human needs, human resource development, infrastructure investment, structural adjustment, those are common items covered. So 1992 ODA charter was formed, but not so exciting. Then it was kind of a revised in 2003. Then certain strategic aspects, strategic consideration started being embedded into 2003 ODA Charter. Strategic value, strategic consideration in many cases implies national interest of Japan. So that national interests were not explicitly mentioned, but started being considered in 2003 ODA Charter. Then that tendency, I mean the national interest orientation is clearly incorporated into a new charter in 2015 Development Cooperation Charter. Development Cooperation Charter is renewed with the name as well. The previous two charters, 1992 and 2003, were called the ODA Charter, while a new one is called the Development Cooperation Charter. Then Development Cooperation Charter expanded the ODA in multiple ways. So let me explain how development cooperation was expanded as a concept from ODA. So for the first time, national interest is explicitly mentioned in the charter. Then this is reproduction of explanation given by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But I have a summary chart, so that let me go directly to the chart, skipping one slide. Skipping this slide. I will come back to this slide after showing this. This is a picture I created. Development cooperation, which is a new concept, expanded from ODA. ODA was assistance by the government of Japan to developing countries. However, you might know that central government of Japan has huge debt. Once Japan had deep recession, then to cope with deep recession, the government of Japan need to issue bonds very much. So that Japan is, as long as I understand, one of the highest country in terms of public debt to GDP ratio in the world, worst. So now the government of Japan want to fade out and give burden to somebody else. And somebody else considered as private sector, local government, and Japan's NGOs. So that development cooperation include contribution of private sector, local government, and the NGO to recipient. So contributors are diversified. Not only the central government of Japan, but also other actors are expected to contribute to development cooperation. And the recipients also diversify. Firstly, the recipients of ODA was limited to developing countries. but it was expanded, become flexible to middle and higher income countries such as Gulf oil producing countries, because they might have a certain vulnerability, water shortage, climate change, so that now Japan's development cooperation can provide resources to middle and high income countries. In addition, small and medium companies, Japanese, also become legitimate recipients once those companies engaged in international cooperation. So that those three were new recipients added in the concept of development cooperation. So the point is that government of Japan, central government of Japan wants somebody else shoulder the burden, because the central government of Japan have a very high debt. Then let me come back to the previous slide. So this is a previous slide. So new concept of development cooperation replace original ODA. Then security is emphasized. I would come to this point soon. Then government of Japan fade away, and it assumed the role of the government of Japan is a catalyst, not the engine of cooperation. Japan, government of Japan might mediate, but would not be a driver of cooperation. That's policy incorporated in the Development Cooperation Charter 2015. Yes, I have already explained, some of those. Then let me directly go to 2023 new. I'm sorry, latest chapter. Latest chapter push the emphasis on link between Japan's international cooperation and Japan's national security. Now, Development Cooperation Charter is treated as lower documents beneath national security strategy of Japan. In a sense, subordinate document. So national security strategy of Japan is ahead, and development cooperation charter below. So such hierarchy is implicitly made, not explicitly. But the timing of revision of national security strategy of Japan and the development cooperation charter synchronized, so that many scholars interpret that attitude of the government of Japan right now is that the development cooperation is one of a policy of a national security strategy. And another interesting feature or a mode of cooperation put into new 2023 Development Cooperation Charter was offer type cooperation. Offer type cooperation, which is that Japan push some project to recipient countries. At least for formality, Japan has maintained the policy that firstly, Japan listened to recipient country. And according to the requests from recipient country, the Japan consider cooperation. That was a basic attitude as long as official documents say, I mean, the government of Japan and the JICA maintain. However, under the new Development Cooperation Charter, such superficial formality seems to be thrown away, and more national interest of Japan is started emphasized. So this is a point I criticize on the Japan's cooperation policy. Now, but by the way, the Institute of Developing Economies, which I worked for 30 years before I joined the Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, is now under JETRO, Japan External Trade Organization. Probably many of you have known. JETRO and JOGMEC, which is for mining resources, and the JBIC, those were encouraged to propose some of projects they want to offer to developing countries. And security is stressed in three ways. Most explicit national security, in particular, under the concept of FOIP. I would explain it more in the next slide, so please wait. And then national security, then economic security, because COVID-19 outbreak, economic security was damaged. So that this is very much appealing to the Japanese people. Then human security, which is Japan's flagship aid concept. Then next will be second from the final slide, and FOIP, Free and Open Indo-Pacific strategy, will be elaborated in this slide. FOIP is a security strategy. Japan and AUKUS, Australia, UK, US security pact with India against China. Even the day before yesterday, current Prime Minister Kishida visited the US for UN assembly, and they had a meeting, FOIP meeting, Japan, US, Australia, and India. Japan now attempt to use ODA for this security pact. In addition to that, separated from ODA, another mode of cooperation, which is called Official Security Assistance, OSA, was created. Then OSA have been already delivered to Bangladesh, Fiji, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Ukraine. And concrete image commodity given in the form of OSA is such petrol ships and training of coastal guards. They are not military. I think it is still in the scope of police. So the government of Japan argued that they are not military. But the purpose is similar, ultimate purpose. Then I will give you final remark, and again, this is related to the possibility of Indonesia to become a lender. East Asian countries such as China, Japan, and South Korea together entertain high saving ratios. At the same time, those three countries have loan facility for international cooperation. So I don't think this is by accident. Because they have resources in terms of savings, those three countries can mobilize those savings for loan to developing countries. And then now I found that Indonesia also has great amount of saving, so that if Indonesia handle the domestic savings well, then probably Indonesia aid, once all process have been done, then loan from Indonesian aid might be realized. Oh, that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Yamagata. So, so many issues we must discuss. We must discuss when we think about Indonesian development assistance to other European countries. And so many suggestions, so many points you raised. Thank you very much. So, please feel free to ask him a question, or otherwise put your comments. Let us start our discussion. Any comments? Question?
If I may, Pak Tada.
Yeah, Shirakawa.
First of all, of course, I would like to extend thank you, Professor Yamakata, arigatou gozaimasu, for your presentations. I enjoy very much, especially with the last part on your elaboration with regard to the potential for the Japan in performing the development assistance with regard to new agenda on security in this regard. I would like to highlight about this particular subject on security because I think it is quite eminent for us to see about the tension, the issue on geopolitics in the current news today. And I would like to bring along this background on geopolitics and its relations on Indo-Pacific as a background on how we supposed to place JICA in this regard. I would like to ask you, Professor, in your perspective, in your opinion, with regard to the upcoming issues on, the tensions of geopolitics and so on and so forth, perhaps also potential another violence, another issues in the Middle East now. Do you think that the work or the approach that now already been posed by JICA in terms of development cooperation, there will be another turning point? There will be another form of it, or do you see some possibilities of course that the form and of the or the function perhaps on that particular development assistance will be have to do the divine, or perhaps we have to find another form of it. Thank you, Professor. I would like to stop on that one. Thank you, Pak Tada.
Yeah, terima kasih. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let me respond as much as possible. Number one is that currently there are ODA and OSA. Both are under MOFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, JICA does not handle OSA, security assistance. I think pure security things might be skipped over JICA. So security related cooperation should be directly going to the embassy or the MOFA or Prime Minister's office directly rather than via JICA. I think JICA is still limited to ODA section, and even ODA has some security related assistance such as coastal good ship, but I think once you seriously think about the security, then that the counterparts would be embassy or upper ministry directly rather than JICA, I think. Is my answer meaningful to you?
Thank you, Professor. I would like to highlight that your briefly touch on the issue of free and open Indo-Pacific, Professor. So, do you think there is some particular role or particular trajectory in this regard for JICA to explore this development assistance approach to this particular issue, Professor?
Yes, then let me show you the slide. You see that recipients, Bangladesh, Fiji, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Ukraine. Ukraine is obvious, so that this is not related to FOIP, but you see that Bangladesh, Fiji, Malaysia, the Philippines, those are key important country for Japan to want to take them at Japan's side or Japan, US, Australia's side. So that I think that the recipients do I mean of OSA and security related assistance has been carefully selected. For example, Cambodia is not included. For me, Cambodia has been already very close to China, so that I think certain such security group-wise considerations seems to work behind the choice of recipient countries. This is just my view. You know, nobody said that. my own view. I'm a kind of a external person. I don't belong to JICA. I don't belong to. Please understand that. This is my personal view. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So your personal view is very important for us too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let me just talk about a little bit about the topics given by Professor. You see, I started to be involved in international development aid in Japan almost 30 years ago. And at that time, West and East, there was a clear Cold War before that. But the Soviet Union and other communist countries were collapsed. And the US is the only one superpower at that time. China has not been well developed at that time. So we are so lucky at that time because we can concentrate on humanitarian aid. we didn't have a complicated security issues at that moment. But now, when we have a look at the regional issues, worldwide issues, the international relationship is very much complicated. And we need to make a reference to a variety of things. So in that sense, Indonesian aid, you might be a bit you might be what should I say, in a bit difficult situation, because the world cannot be explained in a simple way. Yeah. But on the other hand, you are quite expected by the people of Indonesia and also people by other countries. Indonesia's contribution is expected for the peace of the world, peace of the region, and poverty alleviation, poverty eradication, and so many things, so many development issues. Indonesian aid is expected to play a aggressive role. Yeah. So, as I said so many times, Japan's ODA turn to right, left, and so on. Smuggling, wandering. Yeah. So, learning from the Japanese experience, you can choose your way. Yeah. That is my final message to you too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm stopping talking about it. So, any more question or comments? We have time.
If I may, again, Mrs.
Yeah,
Tada
please.
and Professor
Yes.
Yamagata. Yes, yeah, actually, I'm from the Directorate of Investments Management System in Ministry of Finance as well. And then we want to inform you too that right now we are planning to be one of donor as well, just like Japan. And then we also propose to be one of the member of OECD as well. And then so currently we are still planning to making a regulation on how we want to deliver a loan or grant. Grant is already done by the Indonesian aid, and so we can act like Japan to be like a donor as well. And but and then for this structure, frankly speaking, we also use JICA as one of our references. So yes, we are still confusing about what kind of loan. Maybe is it like a program or something loan to the other developing countries. One thing that I want to I want to make sure that how JICA do the due diligence for a project. So how a JICA or GBIC yes, actually we want to we want to follow the JICA or GBIC doing the feasibility and the due diligence of the project. So maybe you can explain about that, and maybe one thing about the tied and untied comparison, like you explained before. Is it quite high that all the donors have the tied requirement for their loans? So is it maybe we can use JICA's case for these questions. Is it because the destination country is still has doesn't have sufficient technology or resources, or maybe because Japan want to boost the Japan's economy by using Japanese companies? Yeah, maybe I just want to know what kind of that, why the donors use dominantly use the tight requirements for their loans. Thank you.
All right, then let me discuss the second question first. The second question is about the backgrounds of the preference of tide loan by Japan and other countries. You gave two answers. One is a condition of a recipient country, and the other is national interest. I think in many cases, national interest is the main backgrounds of the tide cooperation. Yes, and first question, which is a concrete process for Indonesian aid to catch up and step up to deliver loan to other countries, then due diligence and all those conditions have to be satisfied. That some might come from OECD and some might come from market. So I have two comments. One is that there is all development loans have certain lessons, draw certain lessons from private transaction, private loan transaction. So due diligence and all ESG, all those were originated from private loan transaction. So you might be able to imagine that many of bankers of World Bank and Asian Development Bank were originated from a private bank. So that they have some basic knowledge, habit, and skills brought from a private bank. So that's one way to catch up. In Indonesia, there are many competent private banks, so that you can use resources, both personnel and experiences from those companies. That's number one. And then number two is lessons I learned from AIIB. You know, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. It was established around 10 years ago. And the process of AIIB to catch up, step up was, at least one of it was co-financing. Co-financing with some of our experienced banks, such as World Bank, ADB, European Development Bank. There are many co-financing between World Bank and AIIB, ADB, and AIIB, European Development Bank, and AIIB. So it seems AIIB seems to learn from collaborator. So that might be another way to step up.
Thank you, Professor Yamagata. Would you please come back to your Yamagata chart that you
Yeah.
made? You
Okay.
showed us at the end of your lecture. Yes, the second one. Third one. Oh, yes, this is.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. This shows the reality. This shows the current situations in Japan surrounding JICA. You know, we were very busy discussing about technical cooperation, humanitarian aid, or infrastructure development, or loan, something like that. That was a kind of conventional discussion about the international development aid. But on the second decade, we were required to shift from the conventional discussion. we need to consider about national interests of Japan when we discuss about Japanese ODA. And recently, we reach here. Developing countries is one of them, of the beneficiaries. One of the beneficiaries, not all. We used to think about only developing countries. But nowadays, we have to think about other stakeholders, such as middle, high income countries, and also Japanese companies. You see, and we are required to working together with other aid givers, such as private sectors, NGOs. So the original and conventional discussion that's okay, but the time has passed, and our discussion is shifting, transferring, and reaching here. Yeah, I'm a bit what should I say? Surprised. Yeah, because ODA must be for poor people, in my idea. Oh, that's not for the profit of Japanese private companies. We were so much criticized by a variety of people, including academia in Japan, a long time ago. Yeah. And we were criticized because we expanded our market over the Asian countries. And we got a huge amount of profit. We exploited the economy of Southeast Asian countries. But nowadays, Japanese economy is declining. Situation is totally different. So the ODA philosophy must be changed. And now, like this. So, how do you think about Indonesian aid? How do you think about this? Yeah, you may meet this the same issues, same topic in very near future. Yeah, because you have started to be a new emerging donor, so you may have your own issue to be discussed. Yeah, and today's discussion, because I thought that Professor Yamagata, his discussion, his argument, recently I read his book, and this is very, very informative to you, Indonesian age. So I invited him. I asked him, although he's very busy, but finally I had to ask him to give you the current situation in Japan. It should be a good reference, good example to you. Yeah. So finally, we may have, I would like to transfer MC to my lady, Lucy.
May I want to
Okay,
yeah,
please,
just a little bit.
please silakan. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Tada. Maybe I just want I'm assuming that Mr. Tada is living in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I said before, that we are now like making a regulation for how we like deliver loan to other countries. May I sometimes invite you to our office so we can discuss about how JICA like deliver loans or something? Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
maybe we can ask your contact from the Mbak Lucy. Mbak Lucy, can you give us Mr. Tada contacts sometimes?
Of course, Pak Dimas, I will
Yeah.
share to you, Pak.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Yamagata and Mr. Tada. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you.
Professor Yamagata, are you happy to have questions by email or SNS or?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, you know my email address. Anytime you can contact me, and I try to keep my WhatsApp account. So anytime you can contact me, and if you contact me, I can tell you how I can tell you how to contact Professor Yamagata also. Yeah. So thank you so much. So I'm passing the MC to my lady Lucy. Thank
Maybe
you.
one more question from
Okay.
Pak Yubilianto. Pak Tada, if you have
Yeah, silakan.
a bit time,
Okay,
please.
may I? Okay, thank you very
Silakan.
much. Thank you very much, Yamagata Sensei, for your very informative explanation. Probably in slide number 7 about the composition of Japan ODA by finance. So I think from these informations, we know about the situations of financing for the ODA, which is mostly from borrowing, as you mentioned before, from fiscal investment and loan programming, etc. Previously, you said that most of the borrowing come from the pension fund. Am I correct?
Yes.
Or probably you have more
Uh,
information.
Yeah. Pension fund and postal savings.
Saving.
Yeah.
So for saving in post office,
Yes.
I think there is no problem because actually I used to live in Japan and I know a little bit about the situations in Japan. So I think if we save in Japan post office, there is no interest. So I mean, am I correct? And then if it's from pension fund, as we know that Japanese population tend to decline rapidly, and do you think it is sustainable for this program for ODA if it is funded from pension fund?
And okay, you gave two questions. Number one is that even though Japan's market interest rate is almost negligible, still Japan need to raise money from the saving or not. That is the first
I mean
question.
that probably I want to know about the compositions of this 63%, probably whether it is higher from pension fund or from the saving.
I think pension is compulsory. I mean, saving, so that pension is more than postal savings, I guess. But this is a guesswork, and I'm not for sure.
Yeah, because if that the situations, the pension as the population declining and the how do you say the most of the Japanese they live longer than any other people. So the government should pay for the pension for the elderly, and then there is no regenerations of the younger to pay the pension fund. So I think it will create a big problem in the future. Do you think so?
Yeah. So our point is that the government of Japan or a pension fund organization need to invest cleverly, smartly. Then they want to raise money. So that is how they struggle through the aim to keep the value or even raise the value, so that ODA abroad is only one way to of investments. So investment inside the country. So, for example, small and medium enterprises, agriculture, or even innovation. Those are how money being invested, and the ODA is one of it.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Sensei.
I checked the percentage of pension fund and postal savings, but I cannot find it. I'm sorry. I was trying to find it.
Probably
山形
it
先
is
生、どれくらいの比
classified.
率ですかね郵便貯金と厚生年金基金の割合ってどれくらいですかね
財政投融資って話。
財党ですね。その内訳を聞いてみるみたいですね。
そういうことですよね。
the issue, the first question is not so simple. So later on, I will check. I will check later on. Yeah.
はい、ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。And okay. Are you happy with the second point? You raised the second two questions?
I
No,
guess
no, only one question.
Only one. Okay.
it was about the
Okay.
sustainability.
Yeah, mostly this is kind of the
yeah.
one question, but longer
Yeah,
question.
I learned this June together with 5 colleagues from LDKPI. Yeah, we went to Japan and we had a discussion with JICA persons, JICA staff who are in charge of Japanese yen loan, ODA loan. And I remember that the man is that sustainable to lend money. Borrowing, on the other hand, the JICA is borrowing money from the fund. And also we are lending money to developing countries. Is that sustainable or not? One of the staff said to us that we have a repayment now, huge amount of repayment. So yen loan account is a kind of revolving fund. So repaid money must be lent to developing countries. And then they repay the money and we lend. That is revolving. Is that correct? Revolving. Yeah. So in that sense, the yen loan program is sustainable. Because we don't need to increase the amount of yen loan. Because if we try to expand the volume of yen loan, we need to borrow money from the government. But so far, they don't like to extend the amount of yen loan because no country, not too many countries like to borrow money. Yeah. For example, Indonesia 10 years ago, you didn't like to borrow money from other countries. So my colleague, JICA in Jakarta, they were not so happy because Indonesia don't need Pak Yusuf Kara. He said, no need yen loan. He said at the time. Yeah, very old story. Of course, after that, he changed his opinion. So it's not realistic to expand yen loan. So it is, in that sense, sustainable. Yeah. Am I answering to your question?
Yes, thank you very much,
Okay.
Sada.
Yeah. So any more?
Pak Tada, here with
Yes.
us also Pak Kapus, Pak Bimantara.
Okay.
He is head of Budget and Treasury Training Center. Pak
Yep.
Kapus, if you want to ask some question, maybe Pak Kapus, silakan Pak, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, my name is Bima Yamagata-san and all colleagues here. I was an executive director at ADB, Asian Development Bank, during the President Nakao period. And I have, during my time in ADB, we also have a kind of issues on the unfunded benefit for the pension fund. Unfunded benefit of the pension fund. And unlike in the developed countries, some Indonesian people actually love to work longer than used to be. I mean, in the normal work period, something like that. So you can see if in France, in Paris, there was a kind of social unrest, a riot, because of the government actually applied the new pension period or age for the worker actually. So they need to work longer. The idea is to cover some portion of unfunded fund or unfunded benefit in the future for the retiree. So this is different from like country like Indonesia actually. If the pension or retirement age is applied longer, actually we love to work longer, so we still need to be a productive person, even though it make us to less time to enjoy our retirement time. My question, Pak, I don't know whether in Japan also becomes an issue or not. If let's say for some cases, probably I don't know whether it's happened in Japan as well. If there was unfunded pension fund, unfunded benefit of the pension fund in the future, so was it a normal policy to extend the period at retirement for the worker in Japan?
年金の話になっちゃいましたね。
Yeah.
いかがでしょう。
For example, in my case, the Institute of Developing Economies, which I worked for 30 years, had retirement age definitely at 65.
Okay.
But in this university, Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, some can teach up to 75. So that retirement age seems to be in my case more a longer working age have been applied, and general tendency in Japan is revising more longer working years, and it is not made at sudden and abrupt manner, so that in Japan there is no symptom such as riot, whatever, as France shows. Having said that, aging issue is deep-seated, long-standing, so that it's serious, and if pension fund organization fail in investment, then the pension fund management might turn in a bad way. So then, if it is the case, then the unfunded benefit issues would revive. But at this moment, this doesn't seem to be an issue in Japan
Oh, okay.
in an urgent form. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm.
And if I may to continue my question, since you mentioned about touch base on the investment, and I knew that in Japan actually the interest rate environment is quite low, right? So the question was, I don't know whether it's already explained by you and colleagues, but since I came a bit late, to compensate the low interest rate environment in Japan, because usually or normally pension fund invest in very risk-free investment instrument, such as of course in Japan is the government bonds, but since the government bonds provide the relatively lower return to the pension fund, even though they provide the longer tenor compared with other instrument. So to compensate in terms of the return for the investment, where actually you guys put the money or the investment other than the Japanese government bond, probably you also invest in other currency government bonds such as the US dollar bond or something like that.
Yeah, I think you are correct. Around 6-7 years ago, I found that as just one of employee of a public institution, I was encouraged to choose a variety of investments of one of my pension funds. And it includes US and Euro investment. Before that, I didn't think about it. But it seems certain education is given to senior employees in Japanese public institutions, so that I mean, a certain diversification of the investments. I mean, the host and the destination commodity. Those seems to started already. So that even though the degree is not so great, still I think that certain diversification of investment is now encouraged by the government and public sectors.
The person who questioned is a bit busy. So, coming back to the context of international development, pension fund system is one of the very important issue, because now you have a huge number of younger generation in Indonesia. And before this, Japan also, we used to have a mass of young generation. But now we are entering the aged society, and we have so many variety of problems for helping elderly persons. But on the other hand, when I was in the Philippines, at that time I was 55 years old. I was treated as a senior citizen in the Philippines. So I can use the priority lane in the supermarket. I don't need to wait for others to finish payment. Yeah, we have a priority lane for senior citizens. And the money to be paid for the restaurant should be discounted for senior citizens. I think you may have the similar system in Indonesia too. When I went to Otoya restaurant, Japanese restaurant near here, they have a discount system for senior citizens because I'm more than 60 years old. I got the benefit to be an old person in any way. But Indonesia, you are required to think about the issue of demographic transition. Now you are mass of younger generation. Yeah. So you don't have any problem. You have a bonus of what should I say in English? I don't know. Population bonus. Yeah. And your dependency ratio is very low. Yeah. But in Japan, on the other hand, dependency ratio is increasing. Yeah. Many people getting older. But on the other hand, as Professor explained a little bit, the pension fund now, fund is provided when we get to be 63 years old. But only 70% started to provide when we become 63 years old. But it is mundur. Yeah. Later on, younger, a little bit young generation, now 55 years old or 50 years old, they cannot get pension fund when they get to be 65 years old. Approximately maybe 70 years old. So Japanese people say that, oh, we must work until the time we get to be 70 years old. So I'm retiring JICA. No assistance from JICA anymore. But my pension fund amount is very small. So for example, if I'd like to be back to Indonesia for holidays, I need money, but I don't have enough money. So I need to work. Yeah, although I'm 66 years old, I have to work to enjoy my life because the pension fund is very small. Yeah, I didn't imagine this. But Japanese people are required to work until to be 70 years old. Is that good? Not good? From your viewpoint, Indonesian friends, orang sudah tua, older generation, don't need to work. Yeah, you are very, very sincere to older generation. Yeah. But in Japan, yes, younger generation, they said they should respect older generation, but they cannot because so many elderly persons, so many old generation. Yeah. So Indonesia, 30 years later, you may have a difficulty. You may have a same difficulty. So please be prepared for it. Yeah. Okay, I spoke too much. Yeah. Sorry, Lucy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Tada. Thank you, Pak Bima, for the question and discussion. So before we close this session, we would like to invite to all the participants for a photo group, perhaps. So please, for the participant, to open your camera, please. Yeah. Ready, everyone? Okay. I count in 1, 2, 3. Okay. Freestyle maybe? 1, 2, 3. Freestyle. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for everyone here. On behalf of Indonesian Aid, Lembaga Dana Kerjasama Pembangunan Internasional, and Ministry of Finance, I would like to extend our deepest appreciate, especially for Prof. Yamagata and also Pak Tada for this session. It is very useful for us. And then for the older participant, thank you so much. We hope that you found today's session valuable and inspiring. So thank you for all. I wish you all the great day ahead. So happy weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
先生、ありがとうございました。
Arigato gozaimashita.
ありがとうございました。
Arigato.
So,
Arigatou
sehat
gozaimashita.
ya. Sampai ketemu.
Thank you, Pak Tada.
Thank
See
you.
you.
See you soon.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oke, potong.